From Mumbai, this is Amit Kamath alongside Vinayakk Mohanarangan, who's joining me from Noida as we try and recap uh, day 8 of the Asian Games from Hangzhou. We've seen 7 medals being won, no golds for a change for the Indian contingent, but plenty of stories to track. And once again, for the second successive day, we've had an upgrade in our medal, with a bronze medal being upgraded to a silver. And well, who doesn't like an upgrade? Certainly, I love it. Vinayak, you want to start with the story of how a bronze turned into silver once again?
Yeah, sure. So that was in the mixed 4x400 meter relay. That was the last medal event of the day in track and field. So India started off decently. Indian team was Mohammad Ajmal, Vidya Ramraj, Rajesh Ramesh, and Shubha Venkatesh. I think Bahrain always started the race as favorites. As long as they didn't get a disqualification, they were going to be favorites, with Salwa Eid Nazar running the anchor leg. Turned out to be that way, actually closer than what people might have thought, because Shubha, after the third leg, Rajesh Ramesh finished the third leg quite strongly and gave Shubha a decent chance to, I think, make a push for it. It came down to Bahrain, Sri Lanka, and India, and at the time, Bahrain finished first, Sri Lanka finished second, and Shubha just lost out a little bit towards the end as she finished third, as India finished third. And then a short while later, we got a update saying, it's been upgraded to silver because Sri Lanka got disqualified for lane infringement. So for the second consecutive evening in track and field, we got a bronze upgraded to silver, which is nice. Like you said, no one dislikes upgrades.
Yeah. And we've also had, it's a great day for relays as well, because over in roller skating, we've had 2 medals from our relay teams. But we'll get to that later because there's just so much to unpack in just track and field at the moment. Uh, in in the jump event, we are seeing that Shaili Singh, everybody has been talking about. She was one of the favorites. At least, we built her up to one of the. I saw people talking about how today might be the day she overhauls her mentor, Anju Bobby George's mark. And it didn't go as per plan for her.
No, it didn't. I don't think she ever was in great rhythm from the start. Her first jump was a very safe jump, well behind the plasticine board. So I thought maybe she just wanted to get a good jump first and then push later on, but it just never happened for her. And she looked stressed, I would say. She looked like she was trying very hard to get that one big jump. And what these athletes say, right? When you try too hard for something, it probably doesn't, it's not meant to happen. It just didn't feel like it was her day. And she did manage a good 6.48 towards the end, back end. I thought maybe that would give her that push to go for one big jump in the end. And even Nihal Koshi, our correspondent, kept telling me that she has that one big jump in her, right? And but it just never came for her. And the reactions at the end were quite telling, because she's a teenager, right? We have to remember that. She has time on her side, and when she finished her sixth jump, she was on her knees and she was crying. And it clearly she expected more from herself. Whether we speak about pressure and expectations and the build-up and all that, clearly she expected more from herself. It wasn't close to her personal best, and if she had managed close to her personal best, it would have probably been enough for a medal, with 6.73 being enough for gold. But the story from long jump today was Ansi Sojan. She's been flying under the radar almost. They've been competing together for a while now. They've been going to events together for a while, but almost always the attention is on Shaili Singh because, of the story and, what she's capable of, her World Junior Championship silver and all that. Deservedly, Shaili gets that attention, I think. But today, Ansi stepped up and had her moment in the limelight. Superb series of jumps, had a close to a 6.5 early on that kind of set her up. And while most athletes struggled in the approach, she was really good in the approach today. I think she probably had the best approach to the board among all the athletes, and she managed to equal her personal best with a 6.56 first, and then the jump after that, she managed to beat it by a good 7 centimeters, 6.63, and she let out a huge cry of joy. It wasn't enough for gold, but I think, my simple thumb rule is if anyone is beating their personal best at a big event, they've had a good day. It's a simple thumb rule I use for athletics, and beating your personal best by 7 centimeters is no joke, right? And so it's credit to Ansi Sojan for doing that, and very, very good silver for her.
And not to mention that Shelly had this one moment. She, as you mentioned, she was on her knees, she was crying. She goes backstage. A bunch of journalists from India catch her just to understand what went wrong. And while she's still tearing up, she gives us one of the quotes of the day. She says, "I give you a guarantee that I will do my best at the next event." It almost has a feel of Murli Sri Shankar looking into the camera last time around and saying, "You will see me here." And this time around, we see him winning a silver medal. So,
Right.
I mean, it just speaks to the change in the mindset, right? I mean, with Murli Sri Shankar also, this has been a thing. Like a lot of people have said that sometimes at the big events he doesn't show up. But credit to him, he had qualified for the World Diamond League finals, I believe, and he decided not to go there. He said, "No, no, I'm going to focus on the Asian Games." I mean, that just speaks to Indian athletes, knowing which competitions they really want to target rather than just going one event after the other because they are getting to be there, and also them having that confidence, like this teenager Shaili just walking up and saying, "I'm going to do that." To put invite that pressure is something else. Like I don't think we've seen
Right.
that even in recent past, I believe.
Yeah, so Sri Shankar is a very good example. Neeraj is a good example. Neeraj,
Right.
Neeraj is probably not like that outspoken, but he is a confident man. He knows,
Yeah.
he carries himself that well. I think it's a generation of track and field athletes that we're coming up with. They know what they're capable of, and they know when they're not up to the mark. I think that is more important, right?
Yeah.
Jyoti Araji, actually, we spoke a lot about Jyoti yesterday, but today morning I saw a video of her interview with Sony where she actually said, "Sorry, I couldn't win gold. Sorry, India, that I couldn't win gold." I'm not a big fan of that personally, that they don't have to say sorry to,
Yeah.
India, or like the
Anybody.
concept of India. Yeah, to anybody really, right?
Yeah.
Because there was no doubting her effort. We spoke about this a lot. To do that after everything that happened to her and to still come sub 13 was a
Yeah.
phenomenal effort. But in her mind, she was, I wanted a personal best today. I couldn't do it. I wanted that goal today. I couldn't get it. So I'm going to do that next time, right? To say that after such a
Yeah.
historic silver, that I think that is also very important in these athletes, right? They're not content with what would otherwise be a very, very significant achievement. So they know their limits. They're trying to push it, and so that's always a great marker of what the athlete thinks of themselves and what the limit they have. And the classic case of that is actually Tejaswin Shankar, right? A lot of people were asking today, why is Tejaswin doing decathlon? What is he doing here?
Yeah.
And why is he not competing in high jump? Right? I remember TJ's explanation after. So TJ has done national records in high jump. He probably felt like he reached a level there that that he felt like, okay, I'm maybe satisfied here. What I can do to push myself, right? I
Or
remember
his
his quotes were like,
performances
I
would
want
have
to know.
or his
Yeah,
performances would
yeah,
have
and
plateaued essentially after a stage, right?
that yeah. So his essential reason was that I want to know what my limits are, what the body can do, right? And no other event tests the body like a decathlon or a heptathlon, right? And for him, that it was that simple, and he knew that he's a good athlete first and foremost before he's a jumper. So he's been doing that. He's been doing decathlon for a while now, and he's top of the standings today at the end of 5 events. He absolutely bossed high jump. He was starting at a height where 5 of the athletes had already topped out. His first attempt was at a height where 5 other athletes in the field of 7 had already, like, okay, our limit has been reached, and then he starts his kind of a bit of a show off, I'm guessing, but it's a nice show off. And
Yeah.
he clocked 2.21 there. So that's a really, it gave him 1,000 points just from that attempt, and now he's top of the decathlon standings. His weaker events are coming tomorrow, so it's a nice cushion to have. So it's with decathlon, you're not going to predict anything or whether he's favorite for gold or anything now, so we won't do that. But he's given himself a great platform to do that. He finished first in high jump.
400.
Obviously, he finished first in the 400 that they ran just after that, and so he's given himself a great chance. I mean, he just needs to get that pole vault right. Pole vault is going to be tricky tomorrow, so if he gets that right, I think he's done. So yeah, that's exactly what you were saying, right? I mean, these athletes know their limits and they're trying to explore what else can they do within those limits. I think that's a very good marker for a class athlete, right? I mean, that's a good sign.
And while we talk about athletics today, obviously 2 medals coming from one event. So far, whenever we've spoken about the discipline of steeplechase, we've always spoken about Avinash Sable. Avinash Sable is our reference point of sorts for steeplechase. But now we are seeing that in women's steeplechase, there is a race where there are 2 Indians finishing on the podium out of 3, and that's, I mean, commendable. I know a lot of people might say that, only so many people started or whatever it is. But I mean, it's not their fault that only so many people competed or whatever it is. I mean,
no, absolutely. Yeah. No, yeah. So again, I think Nihal made this point on the blog with Parul Chaudhary finishing with silver and Preeti finishing with bronze. That is an event where we need to take it with a little bit pinch of salt, in the sense that they were well off their personal best. Parul Chaudhary set the national record at the World Athletic Championships. That was a superb performance from her in Budapest on the day that Neeraj won gold, and the relay team also impressed. So that is her level now. So she has to find ways to consistently getting close to that. I think she was quite a bit off that mark today. I think maybe 15 seconds or something like that. So, but I mean, there was no competition, right? I mean, the athlete who won, Bahraini Yavi, is one of the best in the world right now, and she was comfortably ahead and won the gold. And between first and second, there was a gap, and between second and third, there was a gap. So it wasn't exactly like a close race, and Parul was expected to finish second, and she finished second, which is good. I mean, you're meeting expectations is a good thing. And the third place was actually more fascinating with the finish, very close between the other Bahraini, I think, and Preeti. But yeah, and she managed to make that last push, and even the athlete who won gold went and gave a hug to Preeti in the end, for that last final push that got India the silver and bronze. So another event in athletics with silver and bronze. We've seen a few of those already. So that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe moving on from track and field today, we can go to the fascinating sport of roller skating, where I mean, if you read any preview by anybody in any newspaper, any media organization, I don't think anybody predicted. I don't think even Sai or the ministry may have predicted 2 bronze medals from our relay teams in roller skating. And I obviously see, just to give a bit of a context to that, these are sports that we are only going to talk about during the Asian Games. During the Commonwealth Games, these sports are not going to be there, or the Indians may not compete. I don't think this is an Olympic sport anyway. So it's a little bit of this. This is their one time to shine, and 2 bronze medals coming on one day, a superb effort for us.
Yeah, it kind of came out of the blue because I didn't actually watch the race live, because I just got an alert when what was going on? Athletics was going on in the morning. So track and field was where my attention was, and then there came an alert saying, there have been 2 bronze medals in roller skate. First the women's relay team, followed by the men's relay team. So good achievement, no doubt. And I think these are our third and fourth medals, India's third and fourth medals in roller skating at the Asian Games. If I'm not mistaken, the last came in 2010. So there's a little bit of a gap there. And anytime such things happen, people going to be interest. People speak about it, and maybe it could lead to other things. You never know. Like you said, it's their time to shine. So that's nice of them. Nice of them to win a couple of bronze medals there, and they look very happy on the podium. So,
and before we move on, I think I should just for the sake of remembering them, your bronze medalists in the men's relay team are Aryan Pal Singh Guman, Vikram Rajendra Ingle, Siddhant Rahul Kamble, and Anand Kumar Velkumar. These were the men who won us the bronze medal in the men's skating 3000 meter relay race. Coming to the women, it was Sanjana Batula, there was Kartika Jagdishwaran, Arati Kasturi Raj, and Hiral Sadhu, all combined to win the bronze medal in the women's speed skating 3000. Now, Vinayak, if you want, we can move on to table tennis, where the Mukherjees are the flavor of the table tennis, Indian table tennis for at least the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about the magnitude of their achievement already to get into the semifinals in an event where it's been predominantly dominated by the likes of China and Japan and Korea, and North Korea were a bit of an unknown because I mean they've not been really competing anywhere, so they didn't have a rank or anything to go by. We hadn't seen them play before. But it was North Korea and they have a pedigree in table tennis, right? I mean, it's going to be tough. And to the Indians' credit, they actually started really well. They took the first game. Then the North Koreans came back to take the second. The Indians took the third game. North Koreans came back to take the fourth. They finally took a lead in the fifth game. And then the sixth game was probably the best the Indians played. A terrific game that lasted just 7 minutes and they powered through it to force a decider. And at that point, I thought the momentum was with the Indians, to make it 3-3 from the side that they're not been winning games, and then to make it 3-3 with such good momentum on their side. I thought they were going to start the decider well, but the Koreans just ran away with it there. The North Koreans just made a very strong start, and then the errors started flowing from Sugita and Aika's rackets, and it ended a little flat, but I mean, they were one game away from the gold medal match. If that had happened, I mean, it's already a historic achievement, but we've not seen Indians win beyond the bronze in table tennis so far, and they almost were there. They got really, really close. And yeah, so that Mihir has just filed a story where he speaks about how it was bittersweet because one of them was fighting tears, the other felt it was a surreal moment, and they were conflicted. They didn't know whether to celebrate the bronze or be disappointed that the final was so close, which I think is a fair reflection of the way it went. They had their chances. They could have easily gone into the final. They played parts of the game really well, but certain things deserted them right when it mattered in the end.
Absolutely. Vinay, besides away from the medals, anything that in particular that stood out for you today in India's campaign?
So there was plenty of archery. There was archery right through the day. Good news is in the team events, all 6 Indian participants are through to the quarterfinals. The compound women's, men's, and mixed team, the recurve men's, women's, and mixed team. They're all through to quarterfinals. So that's one step away from ensuring at least a shot at the medal. Because in archery, you have the bronze medal match. There's no bronze for semifinals. But you at least, if you reach the semifinals, you're going to shoot for a medal. So that much is guaranteed. So they're all one step away. In the individual events, bit of a mixed bag. Compound archers did really well. I think all of them made it to the quarterfinals. But in recurve, the women, Ankita Bakat and Bhajan Kaur lost. Bhajan Kaur actually had a lead against An San of Korea, the breakout star from Tokyo, who set the archery range on fire, as a young prodigy who dominated the archery fields in Tokyo not long ago. Bhajan Kaur had a lead, led 2-0, then made it 3-3, and the last 2 sets were actually 28-27. She lost by 1 point in each of those sets, and it was a heartbreak in the end for her. I mean, we don't get to see these early matches. They're not televised, so you're just going by scores, but that tells you all you need to know. So that was in archery. In squash, big news is Joshna Chinnappa lost in the round of 16. One of India's biggest squash, probably India's best squash player in the women's side, and she couldn't get past Korean athlete in the round of 16. So that was a bit of a shock. Mahesh again lost, but otherwise I think it was mostly smooth sailing there. Badminton, a couple of retirements with Arjun Dhruv pulling out because of apparently a serious injury for Arjun again, who's just had a wretched luck with injuries all year. Every time he has an injury, last year he had a serious injury that almost ended his season early. Then they came back this year and they've now had I mean, apparently he's saying it's more serious than what we thought. So he has put out a very emotional message saying, things are not going right for me. I'm just praying that I can be fit and playing. So that was an early retirement in men's doubles. Another retirement came from mixed doubles with Rohan and Siki pulling out early in their game. So yeah, the badminton contingent have few worries going on, but Srikanth and Satvik, Chirag made it through the next round fairly comfortably. So that was there. So that was in the badminton arena today, and things will get busier there as we go on.
Absolutely.
There was no boxing today. There was a break from boxing, which is good.
Which is good for all of us and for the boxers, I guess.
The boxers
right.
more so, but
all right. So there are 5 more days. I'm not counting the closing ceremony because I mean there's not too much happening that day except for maybe karate and one more sport. But then we are not
artistic swimming, I
expecting.
think.
Yeah, artistic swimming. So 5 more days left. India currently in a race to get to that hollowed 3-figure medals mark. We are at 60 medals as of what was it, day 9. As of day 9, we are at 60 medals, including 13 golds, 24 silver, and 23 bronze. Vinayak, how are we shaping up for tomorrow? What are the maybe a couple of things that we should keep an eye out for?
I actually haven't had a chance to look at the schedule tomorrow, but there is more archery coming our way. There is also hockey, and the cricket starts tomorrow. The men's team begin their campaign tomorrow, so that's early in the morning at 6:30. India take on Nepal. The draw was done today, so that is another development from today. India are drawn to face Nepal in the quarterfinal. So that is always exciting. That's going to get people interested in the last few days, whether they can go all the way or not. The hockey match, the men's hockey match happened today between Bangladesh and India. The Indians finished unbeaten, 5 matches, 5 wins. I think more than 50 goals scored. I forgot the count now. It's probably 58 if I'm not wrong. 58 goals scored over 5 matches and 5 conceded. They've topped the group into the semifinals, and now it begins. Right now the real challenge begins, because knockout with the Paris quota on the line, it's not going to be easy. There'll be nerves. So this is where they faltered last time. So now it's time to buck up. And I think the signs are good today. They played controlled hockey. They didn't really go and search for goals just for the sake of scoring, which I thought was nice. They still ended up scoring 12, but I think they were more content with keeping ball, playing within the structures, things that Fulton really likes, the coach really likes. So more hockey coming tomorrow, with the women's also trying to join the men in the semifinals. I think the semifinal place is all but assured. They just need to know whether they'll top the group or not. I think win tomorrow should ensure that. And more track and field action coming up. Tejaswin hopefully can finish his event strongly. That is something to look forward to as well. And we're not far away from Neeraj. So,
and because you mentioned the cricketers, I was just reading some comments from Ruturaj Gaikwad and even VVS Lakshman. They've been talking about how pleasantly surprised they've been, and I mean, one quote really stood out. Like Ruturaj Gaikwad mentioning that since I've started playing in the IPL, I have not had the chance to actually go into a stadium and watch a match as a fan. But here I am actually starting to, go and sit in stadiums. And we've been seeing VVS Lakshman everywhere. I think he was there at the badminton games. He's also been there at a couple of other things. So they are also soaking up, they are catching the Asian Games fever, if you will. And Ruturaj Gaikwad said a very nice little thing. He said, now that we are sitting in the stands, now we can understand what it really means to these fans. Like when we are in the middle, we kind of like to cut ourselves off from the whole thing, dissociate ourselves in a way, and we don't understand what is happening inside. Now we actually see what it really means to them. Great quotes. I believe they've all been catching a little bit of Neeraj fever as well in the in the athletes' village. They've been walking up to Neeraj asking for autographs. So all around, I mean, good vibes is I guess the overwhelming zeitgeist of the moment at the Indian contingent.
Right. Yeah. And hopefully more to come in the next few days.
Well, on that hopeful note, I think we should end our video today. Please do like, subscribe to Indian Express YouTube channel. You can also check out all our best stories of the day on the Indian Express website. We obviously run a live blog from 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. in the morning every day. So for news, you can go to the live blog. For your analysis and insights, you can obviously go to the website below and to the newspaper. This is me, Amit Kamath, in Mumbai, and my colleague Vinayakk from Noida, saying goodbye. Thank you so much.